All right, everybody. So this is our final lunch with Gigi. It's been a great week. First of all, I just want to thank you, Gigi, for doing this with everybody. It's really, really special that you do this.
You're welcome. I've quite enjoyed it. So happy to be here today again.
Good, good. Today, we're always talking about doubles, but I mean, my goodness, you got up to, was it 12 in the world or did you get higher than 12 in the world?
17.
17. Oh, I say it's 12. Let's just say it's 12. No, but
Yeah.
semifinals Wimbledon 1 year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And you had Martina a little bit there,
I
didn't you?
had her. Damn it. I wish I had that volley back. High forehand volley and set point.
So the first question, and guys, if you have, so we're going through single secrets. We're going to talk some strategy. We're going to talk some about Gigi's time.
I want to also, a little bit later, I want to finish the question that came up yesterday when I had to run off about how to get in the zone, like preparing for matches and all that. I had a longer answer than I was able to get.
Okay, well then for a singles and doubles match, how do you get in the zone? Go ahead.
Okay. Question. Well, yeah, let's do that. So, okay. So I was saying briefly that it starts with before the match, right? Like you can't just expect to get to a match and hope to be in the zone, right? It just doesn't miraculously happen. You start preparing for matches, sometimes ahead of time, like I spoke about. I was preparing for Wimbledon for 10 years to win Wimbledon, and I kept visualizing it and whatever. If you have a big match coming up, you just kind of think about it throughout the week and kind of put it in your conscious mind, and start to talk yourself into, having a great day and being positive and having positive self-talk. And, you're going to fight hard and you're going to compete hard. You're going to give it 100%. All the things you can control, like you can control your attitude, you can control your effort, you can control your energy expenditure, how hard you try for points. All the,
we lost her.
What you can't control is the outcome, how you're playing on a given day, your opponent, the circumstances. You can't control any of that. So you have to try to, as best as possible, ignore it. Then really the night before particularly, you have to do things that start to get you sort of in the frame of mind. I always like to, I was kind of anal about this, but I always got my outfit ready the night before. I wanted to know I was ready. I had it lined up. It was clean. I was like, I knew it was there. I didn't have to worry about it the next morning. You also want to make sure you have your equipment ready. So you have at least 2 rackets that are strong, that have grips on. You don't want to run into a match having to, re-grip it. And you definitely don't want to stop at a stringer on the way to a match and get to the stringer and find out that they didn't string it right or they didn't have it ready in time. You also want to make sure your car's full of gas. Like you don't want to stop at a gas station on the way to a match. God only knows what could happen at a gas station. So many different things could go wrong when you have to make an extra stop. And then at whatever point and then also you want to have a nutritious meal. Of course, you have to fuel your body starting the night before. So we live in the age of keto and protein and there's like carb loading has a bad rap, but if you're an athlete, you have to carb load. You have to have a good plate of pasta or rice or some sort of carb, potatoes, something that's going to fuel you for potentially a 3-hour match. You always prepare for a 3-hour match. And if you don't have a 3-hour match, well, then good for you. You're fine, but you don't want to run out of fuel. So you do all that the night before and then abstain from drinking. We know that drinking slows you down and you don't want to be slowed down by drinking. It's kind of medically proven. So hold off on the alcohol the night before match. If you have to drink, I say have 1 glass of wine and not a fifth of vodka. Right. So, so then you go to sleep. Hopefully you have a good night's sleep. You wake up what are you doing in the morning? At whatever point, everybody has, we all have responsibilities. We're adults. We're not, professional athletes with nothing to do in the morning. So go about your day, however you're getting about your day. At whatever point you get in the car to drive to your match, then you continue your pre-match preparation. And at this point, you're driving straight to your match and not stopping for anything. And then you use music to set your whatever tempo you need. And over time, when you start to analyze your performances based on how you were feeling on the court, you will notice that there was a certain, I call it tempo. There's certain tempo or mode or mood that you have that you play your best tennis at. Whether you're super hyped, medium hyped, or low key, everybody's different. You have to find which one is yours. And then I would use music help me get to where I needed to get to. So, some days I was just depressed, like life gets in the way. Some my parents got divorced, someone died, who knows. I was down in the doldrums and I'm driving to a match or getting ready for a match, so I would play upbeat music. Other days there was the opposite. There was too much going on. My brain was in hyperspace and I needed to slow it down. So I would play classical music, or some type of sort of jazzy type of something more mellow. So, so you're kind of setting the tempo of your brain and your body and everything. So now when you get to the match, or when you get, excuse me, I'm not the cough. When you get to your match, or when you get to the court, then you start your pre-match warm up, and you're in a hopefully decent frame of mind at this point. You're not rushing into a match late. Oh, of course, get to your matches early. I mean, give yourself a good hour. If you're warming up, give yourself an hour. If you're not warming up, give yourself a good 30 minutes, 20 minutes to get to your match. Decompress, chill, talk to your partners. You don't want to I know people do it constantly, but you don't want to rush into your match. You don't want to screech into the parking lot, run out, get to the court right when the opposing captain's going. You're about to get defaulted. You're just not going to play your best tennis, right? So if you want to get in the zone, then these are kind of things you need to do. You have to kind of follow a path. And then the other thing I tell players is, like, whenever you play a great match, whenever you come off a court and you're like, wow, that was great. I felt great. I played great. Everything was firing on all cylinders. Go back and think about what you did the last 24 hours. What'd you do? Where'd you go to sleep? What time did you go to sleep? What'd you have for dinner? What'd you have for breakfast? What time did you get to the courts? What was your warm-up like? And then replicate it. And this is what pros are really good at. Once we figure out this is what's working for me to get ready, it's like we do the same thing every single time. Same warm-up, same. That's why sometimes you hear players going to the same restaurant 7 nights in a row, because that restaurant worked and that meal worked. So you just do it over and over again. So that's my sort of getting ready for matches spiel.
That is very cool. I was definitely more like what you explained, like just making sure that you're prepared and dotting every I and crossing every T. But and this would be interesting. And I wonder if there's people like this on the tour, but there's definitely people like this in league matches. The opposite of that, and I was kind of like jealous of him in a way, because I'm like, how does he do it? This guy, Dave Colombo, he was a 5-0 player. He was like a great soccer player. Then he picked up tennis and he became a 5-0 real quick, and he was on my team. The guy would always stroll in last minute. He'd have one racket. He would drink the entire match. He would drink alcohol. He called it his fuel. One time he was in Bakersfield. He played a 3-set match, and the team kept bringing him beer the entire match, and he won. And so, I mean, there's these people like that who seem like almost like a Nick Kyrgios style. Like, in a way, they have terrible habits, but they have this I don't care. And a lot of that time it works for them. Like, I'm working so hard, and they seem to just not care and hit all these amazing shots. So there's some power to that, isn't there?
Yeah, what I say to that, it's not replicable, right? So, I mean, look at Nick Kyrgios. He's a train wreck. Like, one day he's good, one day he's just horrific, right? So, and the guy you're mentioning might not have been the most consistent. He might have days where he was fine, and he might have other days where it just didn't flow. There is something to be said about sort of nonchalant and not caring so much. But that's a different conversation. That's more the detaching conversation. It's like you're detached from the outcome. You're just out there to enjoy yourself. That's not the conversation we're having, which is how do you get ready for a match from the mental perspective? And you don't know what this guy's doing, the nonchalant guy. You don't know what they're doing to get ready. Like, you don't know what they did the day before, the morning of, and
drank.
Maybe they've already done all that mental work, or maybe they're just a natural.
Yeah, he was in that. Anyway, this is kind of funny. Mariana says there's ladies on his team to drink Fireballs. Anyway, don't take the drinking advice. Take all Gigi's advice. That's a lot more solid, and like you said, you can repeat that.
Oh, you're breaking up. I think you broke.
Can you hear me? Gigi's kind of breaking up. Which one of us is breaking up, guys? Can you hear me now?
I think you broke up. I can't hear you anything you're saying.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Pete. Hopefully he comes back.
You can't hear me now?
Well, I'm here. But I wonder if the whole studio goes down when the host
Guys,
goes down.
who hears me?
There you are. There, now you're back.
Okay. We both look like we were kind of gone. Okay, so let's talk some single strategy here. One question I have is, what did you consider your strengths, and did you feel anything was a weakness? And how did you accentuate your strengths and hide your weaknesses, if you did that at all?
So my style of singles was aggressive. We try to call it controlled aggression. Like I try to control my aggression. Like I was always wanting to come in, but I had to control it because you couldn't come in on everything, especially later in my career. Earlier in my career, you could just come in on a wing and a prayer, and the ball wasn't moving that fast. You could still get up there and cover, at least partially cover the court, or have a good sense of where the ball was going to go and get there. Later in my career, that was almost impossible because the ball started to move too fast. My strength was that my volleys, my chip and charge, return and come in, just always constantly putting pressure on the opponent to come up with the passing shots. My weakness, I would say, were my ground strokes, like especially my forehand. Like my forehand, and I blame the coaches in Puerto Rico for this because they wouldn't teach me topspin, right? So I had to learn topspin while on tour. I was 19. I learned topspin forehand in college when I was 18. My freshman year in college, I learned how to hit a little bit of topspin on my forehand. It was, I would say, flat, kind of flat-ish, but I still had a slice backhand. So when I turned pro, I had a little bit of a topspin forehand and definitely a slice backhand. So I had to learn these ground strokes while on tour. And the problem with not having that ground stroke base later in my career was that I couldn't stay in the rallies long enough, the baseline, to have the opportunity or create the opportunity to come in. So, my return game was weak for somebody staying back. Like if I could return and come in, then I was fine. But if I was just returning and staying back, I didn't have those, I have the big two-handed backhand, and my forehand was a little suspect. If I was going to get tight on a shot, it was my forehand. So.
Interesting. And yeah, so they said that they didn't teach you topspin because they felt the females were too weak, but it really didn't have anything to do with strength, learning the technique of a topspin.
Well, I was back in the 60s, or 70s when who knows, like it was, you had to, you had to really accelerate more, like the all flat strokes were just sort of flowing. There was no wrist snapping and there was no pronation. It was just like kind of use your whole arm. So I could see how you'd have to be a little stronger to hit topspin. Accelerate,
When you played on the tour, not necessarily just on records of how much they won, but when you got out there, was there one player where like, this is the best singles player I've ever played? Like the stuff that they can do with the ball is just ridiculous. Was somebody stand out?
Yeah. So for me, it was Monica Seles. She was the first player to stand inside the baseline to return. So for a serve volleyer, that's really tough because when I was just finishing my return and I would take one step and the ball was coming back already. Whereas against most people, I would be able to take 3 steps split when they were hitting the return. So I was splitting somewhere maybe a foot or two behind the service line. And then from there, try to get to a ball is doable. But when somebody standing 3 feet inside the service line, that's 6 feet, right? Because they hit it 3 feet earlier, it's coming 3 feet quicker. So you have that much less time to react. So it was like literally I had no shot. Like there's nowhere I could serve. Even with
I think we lost her again.
That is you? Yeah. Steffi, I got to attack her backhand. Like I could. Am I back?
It is you. I think maybe you have a weak connection today. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Spotty internet tonight. I don't know.
Are you there? We'll be patient. We know she's coming back.
That's Pete. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
I can hear you, Gigi.
I was saying with Steffi, I could still come into the backhand, and I knew she was going to slice it. She was going to just like whack a winner. So is anybody not see Pete or just me?
It's you. I can't wait till she comes back and we can show her that it's her. She's at her mom's place today, so she has not the greatest internet. As you guys are, we have a little Gigi break here. If you guys have any questions for her when she comes back, we're going to go till about 12:30 today. I hear both of you. Yeah, but she's gone now. Now let's see if she's back. Hey, Gigi.
I moved. I get close. Maybe I was too far away from the. I'm at my mom's house.
Yeah,
so maybe I was away from the internet. But
yeah, you threw me under the bus. They're saying it's you. Anyway.
Me only. I'm sorry. Well, I lost you, so I thought. I don't know.
I know.
See me.
I know. So we were talking about Monica Seles. I have a follow-up on Monica Seles. Before that terrible thing happened to her, I thought she was going to break all the records. Do you think she would have?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, she was just. I mean, her ability to hit shots was crazy. Like, I mean, and literally put him on the lines and hard from both sides, and she was so mentally strong. It was really a shame. I mean, I was there when it happened, and it was like, oh, I mean, it changed sports, really, not just tennis. But it's what a shame.
Yeah, it was terrible. Okay, so let's talk some basic strategies. Obviously, like you said, there's sometimes where you feel like, you know, you're better than that player, you're even with that player, maybe they're a little stronger than you, but when it's within a range, when you had to play, let's go through, how do you beat a counter puncher, how do you beat a baseliner, and how did you beat another serve and volleyer? Those three things.
So let's start with the serve and volleyer. If I was playing a serve and volleyer, my job was to get to the net before them, right? So if they were serve and volleying, I was going to return and come in a lot. So the four was going to be at the net, particularly on grass. That would happen a bit on grass. You know, one thing that I wanted to talk about when you're coming into the net, like, I can't impress enough the importance of hitting your approach shots down the line. You know, maybe this has changed with the modern game and the humongous ground strokes that the players have on tour, but you really want to play the geometry of the court, right? So hit your approach shot down the line. What's coming back to you, you can intersect, right? It's either coming back down the line to you, or you can intercept cross court. If you hit the return cross court, there's a whole shot that you can't cover. So unless you have this extreme angle, top spinny thing that you think you can hit a winner on, hitting your approach shots cross court is a big mistake. I feel like it still is. I feel like, I mean, we don't see a lot of serve and volley game anymore. We don't see a lot of people coming into the net a lot. And really, when they're coming to the net now, they're coming to the net with an almost winner, right? So they're coming in to put away the volley. They're not coming in with the expectation of, you know, sticking your first volley and then maybe having to hit another two volleys if we're putting the ball away. So that's one thing, make sure you return down the line. And then the other one is, don't underestimate the value of coming into the middle of the court. Like, just hitting your approach shot straight down the middle, like literally at the little tee, deep on the tee, makes it really difficult for people to hit passing shots because it's not something you're kind of used to doing. And you've kind of now really cut the angles of the court. So that's against the baseliner. You want to make sure that when you're coming in, that you're keeping the court in front of you, is the only way I could describe it. And then with the counterpuncher, those would frustrate me the most. Counterpunchers, I think you want to make sure that you're patient with the counterpunchers, right? Because they're not going to give it to you, right? I would play more creative tennis with the counterpunchers. Like, I would drop shot them more, bring them in, play more angles, kind of try to get him off the court a little bit more. So, like, really hit a severe angle and get him off the court, and then take the next one to the other side, and then come in on that one. So that they were truly running when they were trying to hit a passing shot. Because most counterpunchers play this way, right? They're not playing east-west, they're playing north-south. So they're sort of staying within the boundaries of the court. And if you can get them outside the alleys, they're probably not going to be as effective hitting passing shots.
All right, we got a couple of good questions. Biscar, who again won his Play Your Court, 2 Play Your Court titles. He says, how do you beat an opponent who drop shots a lot when he realizes he can't beat you from the baseline rallies, how do you anticipate the drop shot is coming?
Okay, can you put it back up again?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so to anticipate the drop shot, you really got to watch the racket of the opponent when they're hitting the ball, and this is a high skill. I mean, 4-5, 5-0s, 5-5s really are able to watch the opponent's racket. So you look for the ball leaving the racket, and then also positioning on the court. Like most people are going to drop shot from inside the baseline. Almost no one's going to execute a drop shot from behind the baseline effectively because obviously you have a lot of time to get there. So if somebody's sort of inside the baseline, and they position their racket, like I don't know how to explain it, but obviously they have their racket. You can see that the backswing looks different on a drop shot than it does on a ground stroke. And how do you been enough to drop shots? Oh, I can't beat you in baseline rallies. I would drop shot him back. Like I would just when you get to the drop shot, just drop shot it back because I think what they're trying to do is drop shot you to then pass you with their ground stroke. Obviously, so just drop shot is the best strategy.
Good stuff. All right, next one, guys. I don't like that she's asking this. Shouldn't need any help beating me, but I'm a lefty. So how do you beat and lefties? I don't like this question.
I mean, I don't really think I changed anything when I was playing a lefty, other than, of course, your shots are coming to the other side, right? So if you're hitting a forehand down line, now that's to a forehand. But I wouldn't hit a cross court forehand approach shot, so it went to the lefty's backhand. So I never dissected the court in terms of I'm playing a righty or a lefty. It was more, I'm playing a person and this is their strength and that's their weakness, regardless of whether it's a righty or a lefty. You might say you serve more wide on the do side because you're getting them stretching on the backhand. But that assumes that person has a weakness there, because for some people that's a strength. So again, don't play so much the righty lefty as much as you play the strength and weakness of the opponent.
Yeah. I will say this, and I think that I'm not, if you want to learn how to beat me, I'm okay with that. I think a lot of lefties, including myself, you don't have to worry about the do side so much if you are a right-hander, because it's such a reward for us to hit to your backhand that we typically have really good cross-court forehands. And we also have a pretty solid down the line backhand, and we go cross court on the backhand a lot less. Like I would hit a lot of chips down the line, a lot of topspin heavy down the line, and then occasionally when I really felt I could hurt somebody, I'd go cross court. But since I practice it a lot less and use it a lot less in a match, I think my inside out forehand wasn't as good as it could have or should have been, and definitely my cross court backhand. I think a lot of players who are less developed, they didn't get to that highest level. I mean, we're not talking about the pros. I think you'll find that a lot with lefties.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say if you're playing a lefty who's a weak backhand, then maybe take the approach shot on the forehand to their backhand, but make sure it's not super wide, right? So keep it in the middle third, right? Or keep it like if you break the baseline into thirds, keep it like in the line of the third, not in the alley side. So when they're hitting your approach shot, they're not hitting the approach shot from outside the alley. Because anybody can get lucky and I don't know, hit that backhand. I mean, if they have no backhand, then yes, come into their backhand. But if they have any kind of backhand, then you have to be careful because you are opening the court for the down the line winner.
All right, very cool. Okay, guys, I've got to be the party pooper today because I'm actually going to New Orleans and then have a lot of TennisCon work today. So we've got to cut this short. I did put the TennisCon live link in, so definitely join us if you want to come.
How many people are already in this raffle? Do we know how many people signed up so far?
For TennisCon live?
No, for TennisCon period.
For TennisCon period. Oh yeah, that's right. Because one person's going to go to TennisCon live for free. We have as far as people who have upgraded, probably about between 550 to 600 people who have upgraded. Yeah.
That's awesome. So one of those
Yeah.
people is going to get the free.
One of those people are going to go for free. Also, if you buy off Gigi's link, which I'll put here real quick, definitely support TennisCon. Definitely support Gigi, and Gigi's going to support
I'll
you
just
right
tell
back.
Alice. I'll tell Alice that I don't do TV because I don't like to travel and leave my kids unless I absolutely have to. And no, so I'm not. I don't. Never wanted to do TV for that reason.
I know we're lucky that we got you to kind of be like a coach in the tennis world for us because I mean, no, I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, you were so funny yesterday, and I was thinking you have such a fun, vibrant personality that would be amazing for TV. You would be one of the best broadcasters, I
Oh,
think.
you're sweet.
I'm not
I
even,
don't
but
know.
I'm not even trying to. You would be. I mean, you just would be, and that
Thank
you
you.
didn't choose to go that way. We're kind of lucky. Anyway, guys, there's the link for Gigi if you want to upgrade today. We're running out of time. You know, tomorrow's the last day at TennisCon. When you upgrade off her link, and somebody actually emailed me this morning and said, "Where's Gigi's link?" So there's Gigi's link right there. Tell them what happens when they upgrade off your link.
Oh, so not only do they enter the free TennisCon live thing, but I'm also raffling off from the people that signed up through my link. I can't either a camp in Cincinnati or a camp in Washington, which I'm doing 2 G Method camps during the Western and Southern Open and the City Open. So one free spot, one or the other, for hopefully 3-5-4-0-4-5. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to have 3 O's, but if the 3-0 wins it, we'll figure something else out.
Okay. Yeah.
All
Very
right.
cool. Yep. Well, Gigi, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging with us all
Thank
week.
you.
We really
It's
appreciate.
been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And
All
Gigi,
right.
thank you again. You have a great day.
All right. Take care.
You guys take care.